It's so simple. One of the things I like about Blue Moon and Wait, as different as they are, is a lot of my favorite movies are simple in their structure, kind of like a great song. You know, a great song should be great just sung alone in your car, or with unbelievable fanfare and effects. But if there's not something true at the center of it, then it's all for nothing.
Exactly.
You know, and Blue Moon and The Wait are kind of an exercise in simplicity. Words by Oscar Hammerstein II. What can I say about Oscar? He's going to come striding in here any second, all 7.5 feet of him, and you know Dick deliberately went with somebody tall this time. You know that. But what can I say about Oscar? He's so earthbound. And let's face it, most of us are earthbound. But there are moments, I swear to God, there are moments in my work when I have made something bigger than myself.
I agree, definitely.
Thank you. The words were bigger than the music, bigger than the characters who sang them, and they approached, for maybe 1/2 second, something immortal. Excuse my limitless self-regard, but they did. And if nobody else is going to say it, then I'm going to. I've written a handful of words that are going to cheat death.
Spoken with the modesty of a true lunatic.
Hey, when Shakespeare wrote, not marble, nor gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme, did people say, my God, what an ego? No, they said he is a genius and he knows his work is going to last.
So now you're Shakespeare.
Welcome to the actor's side. Well, he's a lot more than just an actor. He's an author. He's a screenwriter. He is a director. He is a producer. He is pretty much everything you can be in this business. A man for all seasons. This is Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
welcome.
Wow, I'm Paul
really
Scofield himself right here. Yeah.
You do it all. And congratulations on it's your 5th Academy Award nomination for Blue Moon, but it's your first in the leading Best Actor category. That's got to feel good too, right?
It does feel good.
And also, you're up for the SAG Actor Award, BAFTA, everything, Golden Globes this year. I got to read something here too, because already you have won Boston Film Critics, LA Film Critics, National Society of Film Critics, Toronto, Austin, North Texas, Detroit, New York Online, Women Film Critics, International Online, New Mexico, Columbus, San Francisco, God knows what else. The critics love you, Ethan.
Well, I appreciate them right now. They don't always love me,
right.
but when they do, they are very supportive.
Yeah, you've been down this road before many times in the awards game and thing. And I'm thinking of First Reformed, which was so good, Paul Schrader's movie. Yeah. You did that too that year, I remember.
Yeah, but it was funny because that year the critics were really championing that film, but then the Academy didn't.
Yeah,
you know? And that was surprising and tough. And they did give Paul Schrader a nomination for. I would say that there's probably like 5 screenplays I've ever read in my life working that were really a work of art. And First Reformed was one of them, and Blue Moon was another.
Yeah.
And so I'm so happy that Robert Capullo's been nominated.
I thought that was great that he got that nomination.
I know, he really deserves it. It was a stunning piece of writing. It's it's the reason Rick and I made the movie. Is the way you so rarely come across something so beautiful like that. And I remember First Reformed was that good too.
Yeah. So on Blue Moon, though, it took a few years for you to actually do his screenplay.
Everything with Rick takes a few years. That's just.
I know he's sat here before. I know him well. He's something. I mean, he's shooting a movie for the next 20 years right now.
Right now.
Merrily we roll along. He did. Obviously, you did Boyhood for 11, 12 years with him. So that's kind of crazy. But I know this took a while. Was it because he wanted you to grow into the role?
Yes, I do think that was. I really wanted to play the part, and I think he looked at me and thought, "You're not ready yet," and I did not understand what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But that's only a small part of it. I think he's kind of like a master gardener. You know, I mean, he really loves to study a script, and he makes the movie in his head, and he watches it and sees what's wrong with it, and then he wipes the slate clean. And you know, we did a reading of the screenplay about every other year for a decade.
Wow.
And we would just read it and talk about it. Robert would come over. We usually did it at my house, and we'd read the whole thing out loud. We'd have some friends play some other parts, and we just talk about it. And Rick would just think about it, and then Robert would go back and revise it, and we'd do it again. And part of it was gardening the script, and another part of it was waiting for me to be ready. Yeah. And it's not just aging. I think Rick's an incredibly intuitive person, and there's things that I've learned in the last 10 years about acting that actually helped me be ready.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, just Born to Be Blue, First Reformed, The Good Lord Bird. A lot of these were performances where I was pushing the boundaries of my normal box that I kind of stayed comfortable inside.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of the decade of 40 to 50 was a great learning period for me. Yeah. And it made me ready for this movie.
You've been in this business a long time. I have to say I was on the set of the very first movie you ever made.
You were?
Because at that time I was working at Entertainment Tonight on the Paramount lot.
Wow.
And doing all the movie coverage. And we went over and shot some behind the scenes at Explorers.
That was the first, Entertainment Tonight was the first interview I ever did.
Ah, okay. And I set it up.
Well, that's kind of amazing. Yeah. What a long, strange trip it's been. Huh?
It's been a very long, strange trip. And, that Joe Dante, who I'm a big fan of to this day, I think he's great. But, that was an interesting thing because I noticed looking at your filmography, you didn't do another movie after that, for 4 years at Dead Poets Society.
Yeah. My mother did not want me to be a child actor. That was something I'd done on my own. My mother let me audition, never thinking I would get the part.
Yeah.
And so I got the part. It was extremely difficult on my family. My mother had a job, and she was not interested in accompanying me to set.
Yeah.
No, that's not. And so the combination of the movie not doing well and being poorly received and the combination of the fact that my family was not supportive.
Yeah.
My mom was very supportive of me being an artist. Let me be clear.
Right. Yeah.
But she just didn't think there was any reason to be a professional until I was of age. And so it all kind of shut down after Explorers, which I'm so grateful for now.
Yeah.
Because that made Dead Poets Society possible, and that was a much better learning experience. I was 18. I was starting ready to be taught.
And that's one of those great movies that had such a cast and Peter Weir as the director that, to miss that kind of experience would have.
Well, that experience, there's very few things that really changes a person's life.
Yeah.
And that changed mine.
And so from that point on, you were ready to rock and roll and keep going.
I was so suspicious of success as a young person.
Yeah.
I think partly because of Explorers, partly because of my relationships with some friends who were actors. I was really, when you mentioned at the top of this interview that I like to write and do other things, that all started from just complete and total abject fear that acting would be taken away from me.
Wow.
And I just needed to learn other things. And so I started a theater company, and I got involved in producing, and I took my Dead Poets Society money and I made a short film. Mostly not because I didn't love acting, but I knew what a treacherous path it was.
Yeah.
We struggle as actors to make our own opportunities.
Yeah.
And without a great opportunity, you can't excel. If Linklater doesn't give me this part, I can't show you that I can do it.
Right.
I need somebody else to believe in me.
Yeah.
Or if Antoine Fuqua doesn't cast me in Training Day, I don't have that experience.
Right.
And so that's scary as an actor. And I at least started wanting to learn how to do other things. So I had a little bit more control of the reins of my life.
That's really smart, though. I mean, they can't stop you from writing.
The great thing about theater is you don't need $1 million to put on a play.
Right.
But you need like $15.
Yeah.
So I like to say this about, there's a handful of directors I've worked with, Paul Schrader, Richard Linklater, different people that if you put them in jail, they make a movie. I don't know how, they just would.
I guarantee you Paul Schrader would.
I wanted to be that kind of actor. It's like,
yeah.
And the plan kind of worked.
Yeah, well, and theater is important too because you definitely have theater roots, and this is called the actor's side. We talk a lot about the process of acting and the importance of acting, and now all they do is talk about AI and how you can do all this stuff and you can have all this stuff. You can't do that in theater.
The interesting thing about the theater is that it's unbelievable training,
Yeah.
but this profession is mysterious. There isn't one way to do anything. I just was at the Santa Barbara Film Festival.
Yeah.
I got to meet Jeff Bridges for the first time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jeff Bridges is one of the great actors, and he's a film guy.
Right.
I mean, but he has developed a process of excellence in film. For me, the theater, it's kind of like runners who go to Santa Fe and they run at a high altitude and they get to a normal altitude and it's much easier.
Sure.
Or it's running with weights.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the theater. It's just so much more difficult that when you can do that, then acting in film becomes a lot. It's just you're carrying less weight.
Yeah. One thing I didn't mention that you do too, you do documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the last movie stars that you did.
Thank
with
you.
Paul Newman and
Joanne Woodward.
and just all those tapes that you had to work with, the book that he never wrote.
Yeah.
And you look at Newman and his career and the way he did it, not afraid to be a character actor or all that, even though he was like the ultimate movie star. Is that somebody you have always just sort of...
Yeah, I'm sure that's why I did the documentary. I was turning 50, and he and Redford are great examples of artists in my field who started young, were very good, and just kept getting better. And they got better as men, and they got better as citizens,
Yeah.
and they got better community members and better artists. I mean, what was so fun about the Newman doc is getting, the early films, Cool Hand Luke, HUD, all that great stuff. But then you get to the later work, and it's Nobody's Fool, and it's Color of Money. He just kept getting deeper and deeper. And as a romantic for Newman, to see him do that and sustain a lifelong love affair.
Yeah.
And that's not easy. Anybody who's in a lifelong love affair and a serious marriage knows that takes humility, it takes work, and I found it really inspiring.
Oh, yeah. Just to watch it is so great. Just the other night, maybe 2 weeks ago, we watched Message in a Bottle, which my wife wanted to watch, and he's great in that movie. Just look at him in that movie. He just walks away with it.
Even what's the Sam Mendes film that did with Jude Law and Tom Hanks? I think that was his final Oscar nomination.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And he's just, there was an integrity and a dignity to the way that he approached this field that I think when I was turning 50, I was like, how do you play this game? How is this game won?
Yeah. Well, I just saw a movie that most people watching this certainly have not seen yet. It was at the Sundance Film Festival, The Wait, that you are in. And the first thing I'm looking at it, and it's reminding me, and people writing about it are saying, oh, yeah, it's a sorcerer, it's all this stuff. The thing I thought of was Cool Hand Luke right away, watching that movie.
Well, you are very smart. Can I cut you off for a second?
Yeah, sure.
So when I was doing the documentary on Paul Newman, I was studying Cool Hand Luke.
Oh.
And I called these friends of mine, the director, Podrick McKinley, and the writer, Shelby Gaines, and I said, how come nobody makes a movie like this anymore?
They don't.
It's like an action movie, but it doesn't have action. It has character, and I guess it's an adventure film. I mean, it's a prison movie, a weird genre you put it in. But I was like, I want to make an old school adventure film, with characters. Yeah. And that was Cool Hand Luke was the first firecracker
I
that
love
set
that
out.
because that's I totally got that. There's of course elements of sorcerer, deliverance. You can name Treasure of the Sierra Madre for sure.
Yeah, even sometimes a great notion. We pilfer from a lot of great.
Oh my
films.
God, I know
the underwater
incredible scene with Richard Jekyll, who got an Oscar nomination.
Well, that's one of the greatest 9 minutes of cinema history, and sometimes
scene.
A great notion.
He's on a log for those who haven't seen this movie,
and the water's rising, and he's trapped under the log, and
and
it's two brothers, and Newman knows his brother's going to drown.
Yeah, and he's doing everything desperately
And he
to
can't do
prevent
it.
that. It's heartbreaking, and he so deserved that nomination. But this movie is exactly what you said. It's the kind of thing they don't make anymore, and it's great. Russell Crowe's in it in the
He's
villainous
amazing in it.
role
Yeah,
there.
I know. We're so lucky to have him.
And the whole cast, the whole crew, as you're going on this treacherous journey trying to deliver this gold.
It's so simple. One of the things I like about Blue Moon and Wait, as different as they are, is a lot of my favorite movies are simple in their structure, kind of like a great song. You know, a great song should be great just sung alone in your car,
Yeah.
or with unbelievable fanfare and effects. But if there's not something true at the center of it,
Yeah.
then it's all for nothing.
Exactly.
You know, and Blue Moon and the Wait are kind of an exercise in simplicity.
Ironically, it's bookended too because Blue Moon premiered at the Berlin Film Festival, which is just going on again now, and now The Wait is going there
we're
too
getting cake there.
on its next
Yeah.
stop. Somebody buy this, the right person. I don't want somebody, the right.
We need a great distributor because I've
gotta be in
rarely
theaters.
been one of my favorite. I've had a handful of great premieres.
Yeah.
You know, Boyhood was one, but The Wait at Sundance. I mean, that was, as an actor, to feel an audience love a movie. I mean, it is a high I chase. I mean, it really is a thing. Once you have that feeling, you just want it again.
Yeah.
It was
it's
such
amazing.
a great night there in Sundance.
Getting back to Blue Moon, and when you're talking about theater and everything, that is the ultimate theater movie. I mean, this is Loren's Heart and the opening night of Oklahoma and the end of a long relationship with Richard Rodgers. You are never off screen, I don't think, once. It's like incredible. This is a true actor's performance. But man, it's risky, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the first times that I can remember that I knew that my wife and my kids couldn't be there.
Really?
You just knew it was going to be too much work. Like I had to go underground, and so we shot the film in Ireland, and it was the heaviest lift of my professional life. I think just in terms of how difficult, you know, what was being asked of me. There's a transformative process that was being asked of me that not every part demands,
right.
you know, but this one demanded it. And to get to do it with Rick, to get to do it with this piece of writing, to get to make a movie about the New York theater, which is my first love. So I was just all in.
And it's Sardi's.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposedly Sardi's.
Yeah.
But it was all done in Ireland, huh?
Well, we built. They're never going to shut down Sardi's for 2 months. Okay, the Broadway community would not have that.
No.
So we knew we had to build it somewhere. So we built it on a set in Ireland.
That's amazing. And transformative is when you talk about it, you had to be like 5 feet tall.
Yeah, shave my head and
Shave your head.
arthritic and you know.
And play that. And I read somewhere Rick Linklater said he doesn't want to see, and he's just a 9th movie he's done with you. He doesn't want to see anything he's ever seen before. He doesn't want to see Ethan Hawke or any bag of tricks an actor might have or anything like that.
Yeah, he said to me on the Friday before we started shooting, he said, I don't want to see you to the wrap party. And it was such an interesting thing to say. And so his criticism to me after certain takes would only be, I see you. I saw you. I saw you. And that was just his mantra. And it was so irritating. Wow. Because you can't understand. If somebody's saying, I see you as a negative,
Yeah.
it kind of hurts your feelings. You know?
Right.
But I knew what he meant. And he was asking me to disappear. And he didn't want the movie to be cute or charming or, I mean, it needed to be funny. But he really wanted it to feel like a Rodgers and Hart song. And what they are is they're wickedly funny. They're penetrating. They're heartbreaking.
Right.
They're completely absorbing. They're soulful and silly. And that is a hard razor's edge to walk.
That's really,
Yeah.
you know, but it's so worked. When I saw this movie, I'm going like, whoa. The only thing I was worried about is it's a small movie, you know, are people going to go see it? But I was so sure any actor watching this movie would go, wow, be very jealous, that you got that part. And, I was absolutely convinced that if they see this movie, there's no way you don't get the recognition you've gotten. So it's so nice to see a little movie like that,
It makes it so rewarding to go to all these events, to know that it was just made with love and simplicity, and that it's taken us to the big dance. It feels
exactly,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not your only thing here. You'll probably go to another dance later when the Emmys come around, because The Lowdown's a hell of a show.
That's a great show. Yeah.
FX and Hulu right now, and you're going to do a second season.
Yeah. Sterling Harjo. I'm at this really interesting moment in my life where I'm working with this young filmmaker who's so brilliant and is a complete protege of Richard Linklater. And he just has seen every movie Rick's made 15 times.
Wow.
And wants to talk to me about them, and so I mean, and it was also really beautiful, speaking of Sundance, where Sterling got his whole career through the Sundance Institute. There he was, Chloe Zhao, Ryan Coogler, David Lowery, Sterling, all these great filmmakers who were all born in the Sundance, and we were all there celebrating Redford. And not only has Sundance given me so much in the past, but it's given me my future. Mm-hmm. With this, my next job is going to be back with Sterling doing The Lowdown.
Yeah, exactly, which is great. But that's a wild, investigative journalist that you play here, and it's a physical role. It's wild. That first episode, what you go through.
Well, Linklater gave me the hardest part of my career, and Sterling gave me the most fun part I've ever had.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's like Sterling doesn't make a movie; he hosts one. It's like the whole thing feels like a party.
Wow, that's good. That's good in television too.
Yeah,
to go into.
But I think that's what brought me there. It feels like we're making an independent film. Yeah. It doesn't feel like we're making the TV that I grew up watching.
Right. Well, it doesn't feel like the TV that anybody grew up watching.
Yeah.
TV's really moved on with streaming.
We're in a different game for sure.
Yeah, it's completely. In those days when actors said, "If I do TV, my career's over,"
It's over. It's over. In fact, my son and I just binge watched Andor, and I think Andor is probably the best Star Wars film that's ever been made. And I know it's not a film; it's a series or whatever. But as a piece of filmmaking, it's a high watermark for the Star Wars universe.
Tony Gilroy's
brilliant.
Genius.
Yeah.
I remember actually my other thing I do behind the lens. He was here, and he had like 2 days left before the writer's strike was going to start, and he had to finish that first season. And he just, he was like rushing, doing everything he could, and it turned out just to be this brilliant thing. And the strike stopped him from being able to do anything beyond what he had. So it was against all odds.
Yeah, well, he did it.
That happened. And then at the same time, you bring back The Grabber. I mean, I had never seen you in horror films, and then all of a sudden you were in Sinister, and you seem to have a new phase here where you do enjoy a little bit of
Scott
that genre.
Derrickson directed Sinister, which was the first, horror film I did, midnight movie. And but he really taught me, it was a great way to shift my life as an actor, because I could give a performance inside that film, and he could use it to a positive end. Right. And I just learned a lot about genre filmmaking and about the ways in which genre filmmaking, the acting that you do in a Western is different than you do in a romantic comedy, which is different than you do in a Richard Linklater film, which is different. And so it's kind of forcing me to change and expand.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. And Scott is a serious artist, and so I've enjoyed the 3 I've made with him.
Yeah, it's totally fun, because I would normally say a guy in a mask there, it's like Freddy, not Freddy, but Jason.
Jason, right, yeah.
But it's not, The Grabber's got a personality that somehow comes through.
Go figure.
Go figure, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they're going to want to do Black
Phone 19,
and all
I don't
of
know
those.
about,
Are you going to do more with Julie Delpy, by the way, or is that a rumor I heard?
I wonder. All it takes is one email, and that fire would get relit. What made those 3 movies special is that all 3 of us wanted to write the same film. We were completely in sync on it, and so we would just need to know what to offer.
Yeah.
You know, they feel kind of complete to me. If you watch it as a trilogy, they do feel finished,
Right.
and so
They're out as a trilogy. I mean, you
yeah,
can buy them all
yeah,
three.
I know, and it functions like that. It's
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, but you know, the Before Sunset and Midnight and all of those movies were so good. All part of your Linklater thing. I no doubt I don't have to ask you that you're going to work with him again. I think you've got a plan, right?
Yeah, next one's going to be the 10th, so it puts pressure on it to be the best.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, everybody. I always think the next thing I'm going to do is going to be the best.
That's good.
You have to.
Forward thinking, you know. I have to ask you before we go, oh my God, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, that was Sidney Lumet's last film, to be able to work with him. And he did one of Newman's best later films, too.
The Verdict, yeah.
Yeah. What was that like, working with Phil Hoffman? And I don't know that you knew it was going to be Lumet's last film, but...
You didn't know, but he was 83,
Yeah.
and it was so wonderful to be with an old master who knew, he really understood what an opportunity this was. His whole methodology, the way he likes to work, requires great writing and great acting.
Yeah.
He really puts a lot of pressure on the performer. So his best films, Network, 12 Angry Men, Dog Day Afternoon, I mean, the list is long. They all have great writing and great acting.
Yeah.
And he had a great script. And it's funny, because I'm here in LA, you know, with the Oscars right now, and it was such a tribute to Philip Seymour Hoffman that when he won the Academy Award, the first thing he did was call Sidney Lumet and say, you know, that script that we couldn't get made a couple of years ago, I bet I'm hot enough now that we can get it made.
Wow.
And so Phil put the entire bent of the heat that he got from that Oscar to get Lumet his last film. And Lumet took that responsibility and ran with it. And I'm so grateful to both of them for including me. And that Phil was special that way. Not everybody would do that. Reach out to an 83-year-old man and say, one more run around the track.
One more. And some, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out, you know, we've seen in film history. Here, he was like right on it.
Yeah. John Huston's The Dead, and I like to think Sidney Lumet's The Devil Knows You're Dead are, I think, you know, everybody loves to talk about the best first film.
Yeah.
But my brain also likes to think about what was the best last film. You know?
That's really an interesting, I've never heard somebody talk about it that way.
Yeah.
But, you know, that is actually a very interesting
Oh, no.
way of
Well, I
looking
put Lumet and John Huston on there. They went out with a bang.
Yeah. Well, you know, if Juror Number 2 turns out to be Clint Eastwood's
It's a
last
pretty good film.
Pretty damn good movie.
Pretty good. I know. I love
too.
that film, yeah.
You know, I know he will just keep going.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Nothing's going to stop him.
No.
People have been thinking it was his last film for 25 years. You
Yeah.
know? I mean,
every single time
Yeah.
he has to go climb and get financing and everything
I know.
else. That's like Scorsese, too. You know, these guys are just going to go. And,
they're amazing.
It's amazing. Well, it's an amazing, all these movies you've done over the years. White Fang, I loved an early film here. And Denzel Washington, and, you know, working with him a couple of times. And, you know, you've had a charmed career so far.
I sure have. I don't know exactly the right way to express gratitude, but I certainly feel it.
Yeah, well, one way people can express gratitude, they're doing. You're getting nominated for everything. It's exciting. Ethan Hawke, thanks for joining
Thanks for
us.
having me. Appreciate it.